Oh yes, we should be calling out colors, and I was still not completely aware of who was going to be in what color, but Figjam is in blue, and NSOM is in white. Figjam is now receiving the pull for the first point of the Masters final.
And that was Ryan who was doing the pull. He says hi to Plaxico. If anybody knows what that reference is, make it happen.
Okay, so NSOM came down in a quick zone. We'll see if they transition out of it. It looks like it was a quick melt. It was really just intended to take blue out of their play.
A lot of teams doing that these days, doing a transition zone to man.
It makes a lot of sense. The offense is always strongest when you let them set up their play. You want, as a defender, to make them. Yep.
Oh, it's OB.
Yep, that
it's
went
OB.
out the back. It was an aggressive throw. It was actually a good look, but it came out with too much heat. There was no way for him to close the gap in time to get it with his foot in bounds.
Ichi, number 69, got lucky. Chan Luan was lucky because it went out of bounds. Definitely left his player with too much space. Big defensive player. Isham Luan, also known as Ichi, striking long right now. Boom, there's a poach. Off to the break side. Ichi, great defensive player. Oh.
Tries to thread the needle. Figjam may have taken themselves out there.
Every Masters finals, something like that happens.
Looks like Monteith is limping off without implicit injury call. He's asking for a sub. He banged his head there. Monteith is an alumnus of the Invictus program. Usually a very talented player. He could be very valuable for Figjam here.
Ichi was lucky not to get hit between that. Did not see those players coming.
Well, good heads-up defense. Two guys coming in on a poach on a collision course, and the medic is already walking to the field with his bags of bandage and love. Incidentally, for those of you who are interested not in following the parliamentary rules of play, but in strength bids, the open division strength bids can be computed, and we find that Ontario has 2 strength bids for 2014, BC, British Columbia, as we often like to call it, has 2, and Quebec has 1.
Did we mention that the Masters division at Worlds has 3 bids, Davis? Did I?
We have not mentioned that, but that's true.
Observer does not pick the frisbee up. So yes, we were mentioning we
were saying something relevant before Tushar came in and started spewing lies and falsehoods and sometimes half-truths. But the point is that there are 3 bids to the World Ultimate Club Championships in Italy next year available in the Masters division. These 2 teams obviously have locked up their tickets. And earlier today, it was Tushar, who did win the bronze in the Masters division?
Bobo.
There is a paucity of information available here.
We'll probably try and get that to you by the end of the game. That's vital information. Definitely vital. Flood wins 15-10, so that means Flood is going to Italy if they decide to, right?
Yep.
Each team that has a bid or makes a bid does not necessarily have to go, right? It's like
no, we do not enforce that in Ultimate. We don't have that kind of power. So all right, game's back in play.
Eric Dion, number 51, puts it up to number 14.
Audacious Huck, defenders closing
number 16. Number 16, Fred Gay. Fred Gay is one of the shorter, quicker defenders on the team.
You can expect Figjam to
I think it looked like it.
First point of the game, and we've already got collisions all over the place. Defenders closing in on opportunistic defensive.
That was the second throw, huh? That collision in the beginning.
Yep.
Second or third. So that was a turnover.
One of these things about these Masters players, they are oftentimes extremely heads up, so you can expect them to make sudden poaches, even if it's not a poachy defense. And all jokes about age and hip surgeries aside, they go in and willingly sacrifice their bodies. D-liners do not get softer with age.
They only play more physical for some reason. As if that's going to help their case. Just putting it out there.
Because of universal health care. Figjam still has possession, and they're within shooting of the distance of the end zone.
Oh, close for a D. Almost.
Yeah,
again.
Right now, we're seeing White contest every single catch. That's great aggressive defense applying pressure.
Davis, how long do you think that's going to last?
Well, this is their last game. They're going to be pulling out all stops. If they keep applying this pressure,
Nice
it's going to pay off, and
Yep.
they can roll their lines and do it again and again.
Oh, bad foul. Oh, turnover. I understand exactly what you're saying. I don't think it's going to last very long. We'll start to see a decline, I think. Nathan thinks I say by half. As much as I love the Master guys, it's been a long tournament.
Well, I choose to keep up the faith. I think that Figjam has plenty of endurance and plenty of audacity, and
we'll find out soon enough.
And apparently, great movement.
Boom. Done. Score. Figjam score.
Figjam's on the scoreboard. First point in the Masters Division Final.
That was an offensive point, I believe. So yeah, everything's on par until now.
Yep, that was an O-line score. It was not a break.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of notes for those of you who are watching on camera so you can't see what we can see. This, of course, is a stadium, and stadia have some very interesting effects on the local wind conditions that you may not be able to otherwise appreciate at home. We can see the flags here on the scoreboard, and all three of them are actually fluttering in slightly different directions.
Yeah, definitely. Plays a factor.
Every stadium has its little quirks. All you can know for sure is that the wind will change direction from one end of the field to the other. I've played on some fields where it seemed like the huck would fly through 4 different wind zones before it got to its destination, if it got to its destination. And these throwers, when throwing long, have to bear that in mind because it's a calculated risk. Anything more severe than a slight angle on the disc can do something very weird.
We'll definitely see the throwers, the upfield throwers to the dump field throwers. Even at a Masters level, there's a big distinguishing between the really able and great throwers to those who throws are not their strength.
So Figjam is answering with a 1-3-3 zone here as well, and so far White has managed to navigate it pretty easily.
Again, Eric Dion, number 51, looping over a flick blade over the zone, and oh, who caught that? Out of bounds. Number 89, that looks like Fred Levesque. Fred caught that out of bounds, didn't know where the sideline was. Boom, turnover for NSOM.
It was a gorgeous throw.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You would even think that he was in, but obviously not.
But that's what the zone is designed to do.
Yeah.
It takes away space, makes some things look like better options than they are, and they tempt gorgeous throws that are gorgeous turnovers.
Yes, for the other team. But Davis, between you and I, if the disc was 2 feet in the field, that would have been a completion. Like that, there's no defender, there was no...
Between you and I and the masses listening in, Nate, yes, I agree. If you catch that disc inbounds, it is in your possession.
Well said, Davis, well said. Wise words.
We are in 100% agreement.
Number 89, Fred Levesque on the mark.
NSOM is playing man right now. The handlers are getting isolated. Figjam's...
Yeah. Oh, turnover. No call. No call. Simply continue swing to the break side.
So NSOM regains possession on the sideline. Not an enviable position, but they're grateful to have the disc back for sure.
Yep.
And Figjam immediately goes right back to their zone.
And Eric Dion picks up the frisbee. We'll see. Well, Davis, we're going to see lots of offense, even defense. Dion is known to play defense, but more offense. Great throws, Ben Jamel. Again, they're letting the zone set, which is great for a zone. Like that's when zones are the strongest, when you let them set as compared to keeping them continually moving.
NSOM is hoping to, there's a certain philosophy here. They're trying to draw the zone over to one side and then use one decisive throw to break it so that the Figjam is overcommitted on one side of the field. That is a great example, but it feeds into the strength of the zone again. If you're going to use that strategy, you have to be very confident about your throws.
Yeah, well, it was in his hand. Respect, Davis. That was definitely a catchable throw.
Respect. Nate demands it.
That I do.
Now, once again, Figjam's strategies here are very interesting because they tend to isolate their handlers time and time again.
Yeah. They're definitely a deep stack off of those handlers. Do you agree, Davis?
Yeah.
Right off the bat, he was looking upfield, but the stack was maybe 20 yards down the field.
And that probably comes from the tradition of Calgary-style Ultimate, in which they're usually able and willing to huck, no matter how deep their cutters are. Every time they get the disc, they're looking for the huck, and it seems like all of their targets are flooding deep, just waiting trying to be targets.
Yeah, we definitely saw that on the open division also when Furious was playing against Ghost. They were definitely trigger happy with that huck. Open side.
Said they're not letting it fly right now. The throwers are not seeing the targets they want.
Little double cut again. Oh, hammer. Ben Jamel comes through, number 77. Ben Jamel, ex-Mephisto player with the D, definitely got his hand on that.
Figjam resumes their zone positions.
GF Paul picking up the frisbee. Recently got the news that his wife was pregnant. Great, congratulations to him. Great handler. I used to play badminton with him. A lot of players in Montreal used to play badminton, now play Ultimate, GF being one of them. Very good badminton player.
If anyone online knows who's giving me a massage, please let me know. It's very nice.
I'm not online, can I tell you?
Yes, I'd like to know.
Ben Jamel with disc in the middle of the field.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Just keep it up.
Foul call. Davis, good topic of conversation halftime. Maybe when or when not to foul is a good decision. Like, does it play importance? Does it affect the game? So, for example, was that a good choice? Yeah, it stopped the game, but there's still poaches. We'll address that topic later.
Sorry, you want me to testify as to when it's strategically good to foul?
Well, no, if it's ever a good decision. Well, we'll get back to the game. We'll talk about it a little bit later. I got some points I wanted to ask you about that.
You heard it here. Controversy coming up in 2 minutes.
Exactly. That's what we're talking. That's why people watch Frisbee. Number 89. Oh.
And it's a drop.
Drop.
Congratulations to Nat Wong on her first Masters Women's Championship title and for her excellent fingers, giving me a one-of-a-kind massage. I really appreciate that. If anyone else wants to come up here, by all means.
Don't. Gotcha. Sorry. I should stop laughing at my own jokes. They're not funny.
It's a character laugh, Nate.
Thank you. Contagious, maybe?
No.
Okay.
Okay, Figjam gets the disc. Again, isolates their handlers. It's not a strategy I'm accustomed to seeing, but they're very comfortable with it.
Looking dump. Up line. That's power position. No continue to huck. Somebody needs help. Up. Ben Dion. One of the shorter guys. Up. Back. What's
just
close?
Outside the end zone?
Yeah. 2 yards, 3 yards out of the end zone. A little bit confusion again. But
had at least two dumps to choose from. Looked very confused there for a second and had to make a risky pop pass for it.
Yeah.
Looked like there was a bit of a collision. I don't know who that is holding his nose, but the nose is a vital body part for
Ultimate Frisbee players. That's exactly what you were going to say, wasn't it?
I was thinking I was going to say something more intelligent, but since you popped that in first, we'll go with that. Ultimate Frisbee players need their noses, and that's why this gentleman is taking a sub off. This is number 14 for Calgary.
Yep.
And if I had a program, which Nate is going to offer me in a second.
Do you know where the teams are, Davis? Because I apparently...
One of the interesting things about commentating is that you realize that professionals usually have an entire support staff.
This is Frisbee Davis.
To offer you at times like these. So you're not left dangling and trying to fill up dead air by yourself. So we're going to call him number 14, and he's taking a sub off the field. Figjam is still in possession. Their cutters are way deep. Athletically moving around, though, and Figjam is moving the disc well. They always stretch somebody out quite far deep, but they're not looking to huck it yet. There's the opportunity. They decide to play it safe.
Break side, back into the middle.
Reset. Great aggression by NSOM, but this has been a long point. They're starting to flag.
Yep, and this is a offensive point. These are Figjam's offensive players, I believe. No, I'm
cross-field hammer right at the back. Oh, and he can't get on the disc and keep his foot in bounds at the same time. He winds up boggling it.
I was wrong, Davis. They're still on serve, so now the NSOM is on offense again.
Yeah, NSOM needs this point in order to stay level.
Yeah.
If Figjam gets it, it will be their first break of the game.
Yep, thank you. Do you think long points affect master players more or less than let's say, open categories, Davis?
Well, it is a popular belief that Masters players are long in the tooth and lack every kind of physical ability. However, research has shown that your aerobic fitness does not decline very much as compared to your anaerobic fitness.
Okay.
You can expect that these players may not be as explosive as their younger counterparts, will not have the same rate of force development, but these guys train hard. Anyone at this championship game has stamina. So I expect these guys to carry their strength longer than you believe.
Well, I believe quite the opposite. I think the longer the points are going to be, the worse that it's going to get in turnovers and timeout. It's a great call. It's a great call. Yeah. They got to regroup, even though it's only the first point. These have been long points. Yeah, I wish we had a time on it so we could tell you how long the first points have been, but they're trading. It doesn't look like one team's definitely going out on the lead and demonstrating that they're definitely better or stronger at one particular aspect. Do you agree, Davis? There's no, like, you don't see, other than the zone coming down, there's no real trend. I think it's the first point, but they've been long points, so.
Yeah, neither team has decisively demonstrated any dominant skill set yet. And now it's hard to tell what is nerves, what is adapting to the stadium, what is running up against probably your first opponent whom you seriously have to consider as a contender.
Playing in front of a crowd. I got a chance to talk to several of the NSOM players. This is the first time that several of them have played. It'd be great to get a count on how many spectators we have today, but a lot of them still going, it's sort of a new feeling, this concept of playing in front of a crowd, playing in a stadium first off, and then having all these people watch you. It's the first time in the sense that they don't know how it's going to react or how it's going to affect. So,
and it affects some people more than others.
Totally.
I for one tend to easily forget that there's a crowd.
Yeah, absolutely.
It also depends whether or not you're accustomed to playing with a loud team. If you have lots of sideline chatter normally, then the addition of a crowd has very little effect on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Scuba, Figjam with the zone again, of course, trying to take NSOM out of the play.
There's that throw that failed them earlier, but they execute it perfectly this time around.
They're holding that zone. Dion with the disc again.
Dion has full power explosiveness. Don't expect any laxity with age from him.
Yep. If you giving goes through the zone, should be calling man off.
He's getting every second pass right now.
That's exactly what I said.
Quarterbacking this offense.
Yeah, as he's a great player. Great player. Dion back again.
Dion takes a break, but...
Oh, break throw. Oh, too high. Then it's back in the end zone.
And that's a pity. With all the momentum Dion contributed to that offense, maybe he should have just kept on running and marched that disc into the end zone
to go and
himself.
Score the disc, go and score the goal. Thought there were going to be two chances there. That break throw was into space, just a little too high and out the back, so no chance on that one.
One of the other factors about this stadium that may affect throws, it's the updrafts. There is a blazing sun on us right now. I can tell you because I'm uncomfortable and I'm up here. On that turf, that solar radiation is going to turn into heat that updrafts and adds more lift to the disc than usual. And it's something that I've dealt with every time I've played in a stadium final. And once again, it's extremely frustrating. What should be a perfectly flat throw, a gorgeous break to the back corner, suddenly starts climbing, and you weren't expecting it. Neither was your receiver.
Without you're throwing a straight throw. It's not as if you had air bounced it, or you're just on target. And those drafts really play, like we both know, Davis. For talking about Nighthawks game when we played in San Francisco, that wind was definitely played a factor to us, and simply not being used to it makes a whole difference, because you throw a flick, even when warming up, you throw in the wind, and then guess what? Especially when the wind changes or these gusts of wind, they just take off, which you think is a good flick. Could be 10 yards, could be 30 yards, and just bounce up.
What a lot of players don't necessarily appreciate, particularly in stadia conditions, is that the wind is something It's one of the few variables on the field you cannot see. You rely on your tactile senses to inform you of what the wind is doing, based on the pressure on your skin, and you usually unconsciously adapt. But because you can't see the wind in front of you and you cannot feel an updraft, it takes you by surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. Up, dump into the middle of the field, off to the break side. We haven't seen any hucks out yet. I'm looking forward to seeing some hucks from Figjam.
It's a shame because I was just calling Calgary a huck-happy team.
That hasn't happened. I don't think I've seen. We've seen NSOM huck once. So a huck to Dion ended up being a stoppage of play, middle of the field.
That was a pick call.
There's a pick call. Okay.
Tushar, while you're over there looking so handsome in your chicken hat, there are various requests on Twitter for you to fix the quality of the live stream, and that's well beyond my ability. I just talk.
Okay. Oh. Oh. Who's that? 89, Ben? No, Fred.
There was a foul call on the receiving side of that disc, I think.
Yeah. Fred, don't know if what the conversation will be, but we'll find out soon enough if it's contested or. We'll find. When is this game going to open up? What is it going to take for one team to start a run, a roll, get something going? There's been no real. Again, 2 timeouts have been taken in the first point of the game. So,
with the rate of turnovers we've seen so far, I think this is going to be a question of depth pretty soon because these players are going to tire themselves out.
Absolutely.
So I think these teams will probably trade points, I think, to about 4-4, and that's when it's going to open up.
Find up, drop. In the middle. Yeah, definitely 4-4 is a good. That's usually when we even in the open division. That's 4-4 before the first half. Oh, Dion throws to offender that he thought was open.
Figjam centers it. They're in a good scoring position.
Boom. Boom. First break of the game.
Figjam gets their first break. They're up 2-0 over NSOM. If anyone on Twitter wants to tell me what NSOM stands for, or if it's just
nothing sexier than old Montrealers. Nothing sexier other than NSOM. Where is it? Oh yeah, it's nothing sexier other than old Montrealers. I think. Yeah.
I regret asking.
Yeah, it's.
Apparently, it stands for nothing sexier than old Montrealers.
Yeah, that's true story. They'll make millions. Okay. If anybody's interested, Tashar did something technically to fix the stream. If you really want to, call him and ask him about bandwidth and internet and all that jazz. But it's working now, or apparently it's working now, so.
Now, incidentally, Figjam, if the name sounds familiar, it's because you're an ultimate geek, and you would know that at the last World Ultimate Club Championships, he was playing in the final for Onyx, and he got a highlight reel worthy greatest in the final, the silver medal performance. At the time, I speculated that he should probably end his career right there because you can't possibly do anything more spectacular than that.
Well, in mixed.
However, you can earn more medals. The in-stadium commentary is 1 floor up. It's funny when people charge into a room and demand to know where Chris is.
Yeah, no idea. Well, actually, I did know, but
I don't know if I've met Chris. Is that Chris Cannon?
Yeah, it's Chris Cannon. Chris Cannon's doing the commentating for the game today. Oh, that's exactly what they wanted. Figjam came down with a zone, and they tried to loop it over.
That means that NSOM is now 1 for 3 on those cross-field OIs.
Yeah. They can be deadly, right, Davis? But as much as in these conditions, these conditions of wind and no wind, no gust, and you should be able to evaluate, okay, can I throw it? Should I throw it? they're not working the frisbee dump and swing. That's not. It doesn't seem to be working, or maybe they're not doing it fast enough to break down the zone.
Personally, I think what the thrower forgot there was that he was throwing a blade with the sun directly behind him.
Yeah, absolutely.
The intended target didn't even go up to challenge for the disc because he probably couldn't see it.
Definitely. Boom. Swing it.
A blazing ball of gas got in the way of that throw.
Sasha Lutfi with the frisbee on the sideline. Dishes it to Ichi. Oh, Ichi bobbles. Didn't catch it. Turnover.
If you're going to wear number 69 on your jersey, you'd better deliver consistently.
Just to let you know, 69 is his number, not the year he was born in.
Thank you, Nate.
Yep.
Putting the date of birth on your jersey is an increasing fashion among juniors, but
and
they are
masters
all fighting for number 89.
89, yeah, 89 would be.
Hear that, Kevin Underhill? Figjam has the disc on the sideline, again in shooting distance of the end zone. Nice grab, rescues the throw, but it's just inches outside of the end zone and inches off the sideline. If Figjam can... Okay, there is a stoppage and there is a foul call.
I thought that there would be a little bit more contact in this game. I know that Masters players sometimes resolve or play a little bit more with contact, but it's been quite clean in the sense like not very many foul calls, not very many pick calls.
Nice, there we go. Earlier I was saying that this game was going to trade points until 4-4, but Figjam seems to be taking their momentum forward now.
By just simply working the frisbee up, right, Davis? It's not like they've really taken advantage of the huck yet. Maybe they'll open up in the second half or end of the first half. But
notably, my prediction is not wrong because NSOM is going to make a comeback now.
That's your prediction?
I won't be wrong unless it passes 4-4.
Davis, have you quoted me on a potential score for the game?
I have not quoted you on that, but I have a feeling you're going to quote yourself.
No, I'm not. I'm actually simply asking you, Davis, for a humble opinion as to what you think the score will be.
All right, Nate, what do you think the score of this game is going to be?
I asked you first.
Well, I don't really know very much about these teams, which is terribly unprofessional for me to say, but I'm not a professional, so based on my ignorance, I'm still going to call Figjam for the win. Let's say 15-10.
Figjam, 15. I'm writing this down. NSOM. NSOM 10? Okay. All right. Alex, you say 15. I say... I think NSOM has... There's no reason why. There's no real Michael Jordan on either team that has shown Dion's has the frisbee a lot, but I don't see anybody on the other team who's really taking advantage. I think NSOM can come out with a win on this. So
Michael Jordan is on neither team, Nate says.
Like a Michael Jordan, a specific like LeBron James, somebody who's really dominating, like a Mike Grant in frisbee terms, or.
He's just dropping the names all over the place. But Eric Dion, as Nate has said, is on the field. Figjam uses their zone again. I'd like to point out that Figjam's zone has featured very good marking on the chase. And they have slowed down NSOM from time to time, pinning them on the sidelines.
Yep. He's going to go over the top.
Here, Bobo, take money from my pocket.
Through the middle, which could definitely break the zone if he gets it moving again.
Very touch throws. I'm very impressed by this disc skills.
Christian Monette, number 25.
NSOM gets on the scoreboard.
Not in his usual elements in scoring. Usually he's skying somebody, jumping over somebody, just ran straight to the open side, caught the disc. That was an assist by Patrick Gratton.
That was very nice flow by Montreal there. They eschewed the fancier throws. They just won that point with their legs.
Yeah, as they should. That's just how you beat zones. Christian Monette, also known as Christian Tremblay, from a personal friend. Definitely shout out to Christian Tremblay for being out in finals. He's really proud of like being in finals. His first time in Masters, of course. Definitely an achievement for himself. So we have the score. It's 3-1 Figjam.
Thank you, Montreal, for beginning your comeback just as I predicted. So both teams have suddenly eschewed the hucks, and I think that has to do with a combination of the updrafts and the wind conditions in the stadium. They have excellent disc skills, and if they're not hucking, it's because they've started to realize that the wind is a factor they're not interested in contending with. They want to start winning through finesse. Try to cut down the number of drops, the number of throwaways.
Middle of the field.
Far side for Figjam, rolling on the catch. And 3 seconds after the fact, there is
some conversation or foul, maybe.
Histrionics of some kind. The observers have not given us any hand signals at this time. They look equally confused.
That's Steph Bonch.
I think, was it a down call?
Talking to the observers. Just waiting for the verdict on the call. Mark Moran, head observer.
The disc is going back. That was a contested call. I did not actually see the hand signal for what it was. So Figjam sets up once again. Notably, they're running a side stack with an isolation on number 7-7.
Steph Bonch covering that isolation cutter.
And a second isolation comes out. It was a decoy. Yeah. The side stack dissolves. Figjam floods the field.
What's getting stalled out? Three. Not as bad as dropping a call. Really fucking embarrassing.
A lot more calls on this point. Slowing down the play a little bit. The crowd is not happy with the calls. They are vigorously cheering no more fouls.
Oh.
There was a foul there, but it wasn't called.
Nope. Step off. Looking upfield, looking to dump. Dumps it. Looks for the off the swing. There you go.
Escapes the pressure situation.
Drop. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. That was off. They were off to the races on that one. They're going up the break side, potentially score, getting close to the end zone. That could have been. It could have been 4-1, but
that could have broken the camel's back. But NSOM regains possession. They're running a vertical stack offense, traditional style. And it's a throw to no one in particular, just flat out turps the disc 15 yards out.
No, I misthrowed Davis, definitely. There's nobody there.
Figjam moves the disc across the field, using their space a little bit better this time. Figjam is still having to dive on the ground an awful lot to get their discs, and that takes a toll.
Yeah.
Having to abuse your body on every single catch.
Especially on turf.
Now this happens to be a later generation turf, but I would not like to be rolling around on it.
Hammer is going to float up.
And there is a foul call on the reception.
Ryan Jarima went up blind. Tried to make it clean.
That was a tough catch to make clean by any party on the field.
Yep.
If you're going to make a hospital pass, it just so happens that UBC has a hospital here. So, well, there are worse decisions. Figjam keeps it. They're just outside the end zone.
Mark needs to step up.
If that's an end zone offense, I don't know what it is.
Turnover, Ryan Jarima. Great defensive get. Just ran right by him, zoomed in, got the defensive play. Awesome.
I think that was an artifact of the disorganization on the offense in that point. I just saw an amoeba in the end zone.
Yep.
Maybe it was as confusing to the defenders as it was to me, but I'm not sure that even Figjam had a plan there.
Boom. Ryan Jarima is a handler on the team. Not used to his 2 players bid for that.
And a third bonus on the sideline bid.
Close to the end zone. 5 yards out. That was
And Figjam just can't seal the deal.
to punch it in, huh? Davis, they just can't do it. Well, they got to keep moving. Foul on the throw, Davis?
I can't tell. I've seen signals for stoppage. It looks like Mark Moran is holding up the foul signal.
Yep.
No, he's just saying there's a call. And the observers convene.
Figjam was doing a great job to reset the Frisbee, and they'd shown several sequences that go up the break side or dump. They dump and then swing. And it's as if once they got that as close as they have to the end zone, it's as if that mental focus, not the mental focus, but that implementation of dumping and swinging and just going up to the break side falls apart. As many teams, as we've seen, as I'm sure lots of people have seen it before. So you just want to get it in. So timeout for NSOM. Nothing sexier than old Montrealers. That's exactly what it is, Davis.
It's only 3-1, but we've seen 2 timeout calls and already a plethora of turnovers. Three timeout
Tushar,
calls.
can you correct me if I'm wrong? How many timeouts have we seen until now? I believe that the scoreboard's going to be adjusted soon with the timeouts, but I believe that we've seen three timeouts. For NSOM, yeah. So we've seen 3 timeouts in the first 4 points. So congratulations out to Vintage who happened to win.
In addition to winning the championship title, the gold medal, Vintage has also won the inaugural Spirit Award in the Women's Masters division.
That's incredible. So we have 180 viewers until now. Shout out to the viewers. Thanks a lot for tuning in.
Okay, that means I should make fun of fewer people.
No, that means the opposite, Davis. Just shout out to our viewers if you want us to do a shout out or see or mention if there's something that you'd like us to notice on the field. Send it out on a Twitter feed.
In particular, if anyone has the rosters. Wow, there is that crossfield OI again. NSOM is now 1 for 4 on those throws. I respect commitment to your strategy, but there comes a time when I think you have to change it.
Yep.
Figjam again is shooting just...
That's the score.
Observers rule that it is in, and they are acknowledging the goal. Figjam now goes up 4-1.
Yep. Andrew Batchelor a little disappointed that he can't be here, but I'm sure he's tuning in, watching it. I hope he can shed some insight, if anything like that, on commenting or.
Well, he has already shed some interesting insight because he's calculating all of the strength bids for 2014 for us right now.
Andrew Batchelor definitely, I feel, at points in knowledgeable and knowing so much about Frisbee. Had the pleasure of playing with him several times.
He is our competition director time and time again.
It happens.
So for another update, those of you who are interested in the strength bids for the mixed divisions at CUC 2014, Ontario has picked up 2, British Columbia has picked up 2, and Quebec has picked up 1. In fact, that is identical to the open division. Tushar is asking me things and I can't hear them.
How did Zephyr do?
Oh, Zephyr and PPF met in the 5-6 game in the women's division. PPF pulled out the win and they came in 5th, breaking breaking a tradition they're not very proud of, coming in 6th at Canadian Nationals. So congratulations, PPF, on your 5th place finish. Figjam puts on their rabbit wall. NSOM again navigating a very lungy style, but finding the holes.
Yeah, up through the middle. They have to.
That was a very nice needle through the middle.
Once they get
by a very dangerous push pass to the side.
Absolutely. Once they get through that middle, they so have to take advantage. Oh, he's not in. He's not in. Fred Levesque's not in. It's looking to get another score, get on the board. 2-4. Score is currently 1-4. 4-1, pardon me. 4-1 for Figjam. Eric Dion with the disc. Nope. Swing. Are they going to keep going on the...
There is another stoppage on the play. It seems that it was a pick call. I cannot tell who was picked. NSOM resumes. It's a very frenetic end zone formation.
François Lanouette.
Observers say it is in, and they acknowledge the goal.
François Lanouette to Patrick Gratton.
NSOM narrows the gap by 2 points.
That's exactly, Davis, this is exactly what I was talking about before. They started in one corner of the end zone, they dumped, swung, and then swung the frisbee, and then it just makes it that much easier to score. Either there's a continue, or then you have your open side is way bigger to then punch it in. But again, on the field is one thing, and then while we're watching is another. So,
one of the things that I find on this field, playing in the MLU, it's somewhat tricky with the sun coming over from the de facto southwest corner of the field.
Yep.
I understand that the sun sets in the west, but as it comes over in that direction, there's something of an optical illusion. And what we found almost every time in the MLU games around sunset is that both teams would wind up hugging one sideline more than the other.
Yep.
And it almost seemed like an inexplicable miracle when a team realized suddenly, oh, there's more space over there. We can take advantage of that.
I think Andrew Lugsden coined the phrase of work it uphill, which is the break side, to go downhill, which is the length of the length of the field, which is, it sounds silly, but that's exactly what you have to do.
He did have a philosophy of riding a slalom between working uphill toward the break side and then gaining speed down the open side.
Just to mention the crowd, a lot of French-Canadian supporters for the NSOM in the crowd, definitely cheering it up.
Figjam ran a 3-2 split stack there.
First huck, big huck. There's definitely a mismatch.
And it's definitely out of bounds.
Dat Lam, defensive play. Just kidding. Nice one, Dat.
I recognize that play. That was an old Team Canada play from back in the day.
Got some Figjam supporters in the crowd there.
At some point, somebody needs to tell me what exactly Figjam is, other than what I assume is a confection not unlike marmalade.
That you put on toast.
If it turns out to be something about old Calgarians, I'll be disappointed. And another huck on that sideline drifts out.
Similar play to before. Figjam looking long, goes out of bounds.
As we said earlier, if it seems to you bizarre that both teams are sending hucks out the same sideline over and over again, it's because of that very tricky wind on this field.
Also that, as we talked about, those hucks, Davis, are coming from 1/3 of the field.
Yep.
They're coming from the open side as compared to from the middle of the field or the break side. And if those same hucks came out, those hucks could be much more easily completed.
Figjam is committed to this sideline right now.
Yep. Looking dumped up.
Oh wow,
that could have been a head.
Very nearly deed.
Yep.
There's a foul call in the play.
If number 16, if Fred Gay had that heads up, it's that simple. It's that simple to use. Sometimes you don't see the frisbee, and if you keep your heads up, and you can, it's easy to run onto it. He had an opportunity there. Swing to the middle of the frisbee. Mathieu Dussault with the mark. Fred doing great. Great. Yeah, nice. Okay. Oh.
Figjam again runs their amoeboid offense, and it works.
Yeah. Squeezing the disc in the end zone for a score. That's 5-2 Figjam.
Figjam goes up 5-2, but Calgary and Montreal are trading points right now. Incidentally, NSOM, being from Montreal, has a chance here to exactly mirror the outcome in the women's division. Okay, apparently I sound like I'm in another room. Okay, keep tweeting at me if I sound bizarre to you. No, don't tweet at me if I sound bizarre.
I know many who would take the opportunity to that. You give good material to tweet about, Davis, just letting you know.
I try. What I was trying to say that was of material consequence to our lives was that Vintage, as I'd like to remind you, won the gold medal in the inaugural Masters Women's Division. Vintage is from Montreal, and their counterparts right now, NSOM from Montreal, has the opportunity to make a sweep of the Masters Division. And because Ultimate is so necessarily incestuous, you can bet that there are several marriages across the board.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to let you finish before I comment on that. There are definitely lots of girlfriends, wives, kids supporting. Definitely lots of shout outs that the players would love to do to their kids, their wives, for supporting. Dion again in the middle of the field, foul on the mark.
Dion has been very valuable at moving the disc for NSOM right now.
Definitely has to up his completion rate though, Davis. I think he's thrown 2 of those blades over the top of the cup.
He's been Montreal's Kirk Savage. You know, finesse throws, dangerous throws, but also a higher turnover rate.
Sometimes have consequences that can be very damaging.
When you trust the disc to a gunslinger, sometimes you have to accept that he's going to sling it in odd places.
Etienne Fournier dumping it. Okay.
What I like about Dion's style is that he has such an aggressive snap to his fakes. They're terrifying. As a defender, you can't help but bite on them. And he manages to get a very distant pop pass with nearly no effort of his arm. It looks like a fake, and then it just flies out.
Dion's a very fast player. Up, D block by Figjam, number 14.
That was very perceptive defense by Figjam.
Absolutely. Up, looking long.
Figjam's cutters are again very deep.
Yep.
It looks to me like they're actually trying to create space underneath. Now I can only assume that because they've hucked it so rarely.
Oh, number 25, breakside cutter. Oh, looks like he was. Comes for a big gainer underneath.
That was a very precision throw there, some 30 yards. Oh, what should have been an easy dish to an upline dump cut was unfortunately executed poorly with 0 spin. It just fluttered right back over the recipient's shoulder.
Figjam right back into that zone, Davis. It's as much as aesthetically for frisbee, zones are very they remove a lot of excitement from the game. When you see man on man, it's very strategic play. When you see man on man, that's where you see these bigger plays, where you see much more hucks. Christian Monette with the frisbee, hammer across the field. And it's completed. He's not in the end zone, though. Benjamel. I think he's going to go back. Exactly. He's going back to Dion. Safe bet. Etienne Fournier. To Etienne Mathieu. Etienne, number 66. Super athlete. Oh.
Would you believe this guy? Nate Gendron is trying to tell you that the zones are not exciting enough. And we are seeing bodies laying out all over the field and cross-field hammers.
I'm aware that you beg to differ, but I think you agree, Davis, that there's much it slows the game down, which is a very strategic and intelligent move, especially in this instance. They're leading 5-2, so they should keep playing zone. There's no reason why.
And notably, they're very fluid at getting back into it right after any turnover.
Yeah.
They all seem to know their positions, and they run without. I mean, I have not heard a call on the field.
No.
They just seem to know.
No, exactly.
To get into their positions.
Davis, there's probably a reason why we haven't heard a call on the field. We're still fairly far, but I understand what you're saying.
Well, I can see the hand signals on this call, Nate, and they are calling a foul. The crowd, incidentally, is cheering for more hammers. And while Nate Donchon says I beg to differ, I just differ on principle.
They broke a frisbee. That was a broken frisbee.
Wow, that is a special distinction. I have rarely successfully broken a frisbee except by design.
Intentionally, absolutely. Disc is in the stands.
Tushar really wanted us to say that.
Number 29, Jeff Pudd with the frisbee. Looking into the... Boom. Oh, another drop. No. Let's see if Figjam's going to set their stack up a little deeper.
Well, they don't disappoint in that regard.
No.
I have a hard time telling whether it's a loosely played vertical or...
Yeah. Or a split stack. Just an upfield throw to nobody.
It's a very loose-fitting offensive structure, but that's not what's hurting Figjam right now. But right now, it's execution.
But both teams, Davis, no pivot up the line. Both teams are suffering from execution errors.
That's an execution error.
Oh, and he grabs it!
But the grab is not. Excellently done, and he deserves to spike that disc.
Christian Monette goes up for the huge grab. Like I said, that's where he dominates, even when he was playing Mephisto. Number 25. Crowd's cheering for him. Great bid. He was double covered, still made the play. It's Figjam's turn to come back. Figjam's turn to come back and make a play.
So these have been very long points, very heavy on the turnovers. If you're not familiar with the rules here at CUC, much like WIFDIF, there is a half-time cap, and we may approach that soon. I'll try to get some word from Tushar, our head information gopher, about when a half-time cap will be implemented. But my prediction of a score of 15-10, that may even be foreshortened.
I agree. Yeah, the way the game's going, the points are way too long for to be hoping for 15-10. I think they're going to tire out by that time. They're way too exhausted to play 15-10.
You deserve a Spirit Award just for that laugh, Nate.
Thank you, Davis.
Figjam dishes it, and they go into their side stack, but the NSOM zone makes them quickly dissolve their intentions.
Martin Cloak, tallest number 99 on the team, marking. Trying to use his height for rounds. Figjam doing... Oh, Figjam puts us Bascuber. Comes
on
down
the
with
rebound, jumping over his own teammate.
Bobbles it, catches it.
Fakes the scuba twice before he resets it. That was a gutsy little pop pass.
Yeah.
Figjam is making heavy use of the pop passes.
Definitely using the short passes. Doesn't look like they're looking for over-the-top blades or anything like that.
Martin Cloak here he's very tall and he has a big wide wingspan mark, but he also has a lot of momentum. He's been struggling on recovering position after the throws.
Well, this goes up for score. Figjam scores.
So perfect.
Sounds like, yeah. Deep player was definitely stretched between two Figjam players and just didn't choose the right one. And he gets scored on. Happens. Good patience by Figjam. They worked it up. Didn't look like they took any. Well, the last one was a little risky between you and I, but
between you and I and 180 friends. Speaking of friends, if you're not familiar with the team, 190 friends. If you're not familiar with the team, Richie and Friends is a Vancouver club populated by a wealth of highly talented players, and I say that with justification because there are so many distinguished U23 and World Ultimate and Guts Championship title winners on that team.
Yep.
If that team name sounds strange to you, it's because it is named for the eponymous Richie Tam of Vancouver Ultimate.
Shout out to Dick Tam. We have a gold medal together in Florence. Great player, great guy. Likes to complain a lot, but whatever.
And his entire circle of friends was able to fill out a 28-person roster. Popular guy.
Surprisingly enough, Davis, all of their last name was Friend.
It wasn't. What it means to say is that their jerseys all marked Friend on the back, except for Richie's, which of course said Richie.
Oh.
Richie is not his own friend. He's his own worst enemy.
Score 6-3 Figjam.
Figjam puts on their iconic zone.
Yep. Oh, are they
wait.
zone? No, they're going man.
I think it was zone for one.
Great cut by number 66. Etienne Mathieu. Etienne is known for doing a special type of triathlon. Spartan race. Is a super athlete. Really, really fast. And runs for a long time, of course. But he's known for doing the Spartan race.
Disc comes back into play.
Up line.
Nice swoop cut.
There's no continue. Throws it up.
That was a gutsy throw, and it had just the right angle to get over the top.
Number 77, Ben Jamel, comes down with it. It floated up.
6-4.
Floated up. That could have been anybody's disc.
Yeah. I don't know if it was intentional or not. It floated up in time to get over the defender. It nearly got defended again on the receiving end, but that initial float ramping over the defender's head is what allowed it to be catchable.
Great read. Great read. That could have been, yeah, exactly. That timing with the frisbee could have been anybody's disc.
So halftime cap should be applied 60 minutes after the game start. I don't have an official clock. I can only tell you that it's 7:36 right now, according to Tushar.
Ben has had no hair. It's been a long time. I've known him for several years. Apparently he had no hair before I met him. It's really long.
Apparently?
Yep, Ben Jamel has no hair.
Sometimes you surprise me.
Davis, so do you.
Thank you, Twitter.
I'm not thanking Twitter. I'm thanking you, Davis.
We're a team.
In a weird way.
So NSOM gets ready to pull this disc. Let's see what kind of defense they're going to throw at Figjam now. That's a high floaty pull. Is it going to stay in?
Oh, offside.
Offside
call.
It's an offside call. So on an offside, the disc automatically goes back. Under the rules, it is not the receiver's choice whether or not to accept the pull as it is. That pull actually could have been favorable for Figjam. It was landing very near the brick mark at the time. NSOM is only allowed to get so many of those offsides, but on this one, it could be their saving grace. Let's see if they can get out a better pull this time.
Until, Davis, if I understand correctly, if NSOM goes off, it was NSOM that was offside on the last play?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was NSOM that was offside.
Offside. The second time that they go offside, where does Figjam get to take the disc?
And
is it at the brick mark or is it in the middle of the field? We've done this so many times.
I believe it is at the middle of the field.
Okay.
And it's only a matter of time before someone corrects me.
Yeah, that makes both of us. This is you and I. Figjam a little deep again. Still work. Oh, there's a call. Travel call.
The trick to commentating, Nate, is not to deliberately expose your own ignorance of the rules on air.
I think it's a common knowledge that all Frisbee players know a lot of the rules, and we'll just leave it at that.
Okay, so play is going to recommence in a second. Figjam is getting back into their side stack positions. The side stack is very popular because it gives so much space to one of your best cutters.
Yep. There's definitely an isolation play that Bonch is covering, number 21. 21 definitely one of their main cutters.
Wow, that was a tight one. The defender got a hand on that.
It was clean bid. He made sure not to backpack him, not to take him down. Break throw into the middle of the field.
What Figjam is doing interestingly here is their resets are running from behind the disc. Yeah. It's an unusual style, not that popular. Its rarity can make it difficult to defend.
Disc is up, not in, close to the end zone. Are they going to just squeeze it in? Squeeze it in, like, yeah. Open side, score. 7-4 Figjam.
Figjam is up, but these points have been very tightly contested. NSOM is still very much in this game. If any of you are paying attention from here on campus, shuttle buses leaving to the party at the Musqueam Nation have already begun leaving as of 6:30. It's going to be a bang-up party. I can say that as the president of the Vancouver Ultimate League. Just earlier, if you were paying attention, the VUL announced that we shipped 70,000 plastic balls to the Musqueam Nation in order to create an adult-sized ball pit for adults. That can only be a recipe for great things if one drunk person vomits in there.
I heard so much about the party. Craig Gulick is so pumped. He's put in so many hours being in charge of the party. There's apparently two pools. I understand, outdoor, indoor. It's going to be loads of fun. Great music, great people. Nothing better than Frisbee players. Looking forward to it.
And people say I'm not fun.
You're a particular type of fun, Davis.
NSOM is trying to set up a vertical stack, but Figjam clogs it up with a zone.
Yeah. Boom. Definitely some openings. And they're just being safe. Got it right in the middle. There's a nice pocket in the middle that he can loop.
I'm surprised that Dion decided to hold on the disc that long there when he could have moved it right away, but he has a finesse scooper that goes over the top. Still, NSOM is losing yards here. They're going to have to start moving toward the end zone.
That's exactly what Figjam wants. Keep pushing them back, and then swing it, gain it for yards. And then again, Figjam doing a good job to contain it. That's great.
For Figjam.
Yes, of course, for Figjam. That's exactly what they want.
NSOM is using some pretty saucy throws to get through that zone right now.
Saucy.
That's a good word.
It is a good word. Oh, close bid for Figjam. And up the line. Poach D. Oh, layout grab does. Oh, Poach D again in the end zone. Can he tow it? It's out of bounds.
That was an exciting play, is what Nate Janjan means to communicate there.
I think I communicated that very well, Davis. Tishar? What did you say? What? Oh, there's a huck. It's gone up. Number 77, number 6.
Boom, one-on-one matchup.
Big D.
Strong D.
That was a 50-50. If Figjam had started a little bit more shallow, that could have definitely been a great play for Figjam. Benzuamel, great D.
Eric Dion is just walking around playing the silent threat right now.
Only problem is Dion needs a teammate. GF Paul is a great matchup for him to keep cutting through that zone, because it looks like once Dion gets the disc, they're a little bit stagnant.
When I look at Dion playing, I see a little bit of the showmanship and artistry of Mauro Ortiz.
Absolutely.
Definitely a player after his own heart.
Yeah.
Somewhat undersized, tends to look lazy, followed by explosive bursts of surprising frenetic activity.
Both in acceleration and in faking speed.
Since we have another stoppage here, if you're too young to know who Mauro Ortiz is, well, first of all, I don't know why you're watching a Masters Championship, but he was the Venezuelan import who helped make Furious George famous in the early 2000s.
Very respectable player. Also plays with the Nighthawks. Great handler. I've learned He's taught many competitive players, has several UPA titles and Canadian national championships.
Another stoppage.
I'm sure some of those retired players are. I saw Albob being another retired Furious player, looking at this and going. I asked him. He said he's not in shape enough for him to feel comfortable to play. Put up, back.
Intercepted. Somebody got choke slammed there. Somebody is holding his throat.
Yeah.
Figjam is taking another substitution.
Correction, Davis. I think if you got choke slammed, the guy's hand would be around his throat, and then his head would be on the ground ladder. I was supposed to choke slam Nat Wong on Tara later, but probably not going to happen. Maybe into the ball pit. I could choke slam her into the ball pit. That's going to be awesome.
I can't believe you're uttering threats on the internet.
Nat knows it's coming.
Actually, it is the internet. This is a turnover and stoppage-filled point. What have we got here? It's a very loose vertical style stack.
Yeah. Oh, there it goes
a
up.
Cannon that gets intercepted by Eric Dion. When one of your players is that deep, it's tempting to just launch it, but you have to make sure that
it goes over. Yeah, absolutely, Davis. I agree.
Sometimes you have to temper your vision with, it's too good to be true. Another layout grab.
Backpack. Those Dion trying maybe a little bit to go through the player as compared to it was.
Say what you will about the Masters division. This has been a very athletic game so far.
And they're keeping up.
They're taking a lot of hard hits.
Number 77 definitely had Eric Dion sealed. So maybe it was maybe a better idea by Dion to try and contain and take away something by the mark, because 77 was definitely looking away from the field, and that would have taken him some time to turn around and then look downfield, while Dion could have called 2 stalls, maybe 3 or 4 even, depending on how far he runs the opposite direction.
Yes, Tushar, I am doing okay. And I was just thinking to myself that these long grinder points, this one in particular, can be a very decisive one in the psychological momentum of the game, because the score is 7-4 for Figjam. If Figjam scores this, they go up 8 and they take the first half and they get the rest with that decisive lead.
Yeah.
If, on the other hand, NSOM gets it, well, then the score is just 7-5, and that doesn't seem nearly as big a gap.
Absolutely.
And while arithmetically the difference seems trivial, psychologically, we know that these things have an impact.
That's a big hurdle to surpass and try and come back.
Okay, so we have insight onto what Figjam actually means, and it is not a confection. It is not something that your grandmother once made while preparing preserves. It actually stands for F word, I'm good, just ask me. So what we're concluding here is that these two teams, in name, certainly deserve each other. Figjam has possession. Somebody's poached. Who is it? It's number 6 for Figjam. If he could just, oh boy.
Oh, a little too, no, right in his hands. Upline power position. Is he gonna, he's gonna look to dump it. Let's go Dion, and Dion's.
Figjam has the shot. Is it gonna, no, it does not stay in. Figjam had the opportunity to take half.
First time in this point that we've really seen Figjam on the end zone line. And it's just a matter of 3 feet, 2 in front, the pass that's just a little too zippy. It's just not able to score. I'm sure the players are definitely starting to feel the low in energy. You can definitely see it downfield. Definitely a little bit more stagnant on both sides.
Yeah, and the trouble is, as throwers, they're still shooting for targets that they thought they saw at the beginning of the point, but as this point wears on, they're getting tired. Those targets can't muster the same kind of acceleration as they did at the start.
Yeah. Monette going up for the grab, disc being a little bit just floating up, letting his defender make a play on that. Sometimes that I've watched the Masters, and it's like about field position, and just to change it up, you have to let this huck go to get it downfield, and just they're playing man, and there's a great opportunity as compared to in the zone.
The crowd once again is weighing in with their opinion. They want no more fouls. The sheer volume of their opprobrium could shift the tide of foul calls on the field.
I agree with it. It's
actually not a chance. Come on.
It's probably not going to change. I agree with them though, but it's hey, when you're on the field, it's going to happen or it's not, and it just happens to be exactly what's happening now.
Well, aggressive defense tends to beget foul calls. There's not much you can do about that. It doesn't make it cheating. It means that somebody's playing aggressive, and flailing limbs sometimes contact other flailing limbs. Yeah. Dangerous throws, aggressive defense. It's hard to avoid foul calls, and that's a pity because those are both factors to a very exciting game. Disc is getting sent back near midfield. Observers are repositioning themselves into their vantage points. Figjam takes possession. Good defense by NSOM. That was not an easy reset, and they lost yards. Okay.
There's an example. This is a perfect example. One topic of conversation where, see that throw, because of the confusion between the Figjam players, it could happen between any players. It's going number 23, Frank Lanouette on the mark. As much as you want to step off and you want him to let him throw that throw and hope that your defenders are tight enough to make a play, that's something that can game change. Where, see, because of this, we'll see the result of the play with regards to the throw. I don't know if it's, we don't know yet, but it's just an example of if there was no foul on the play, that could have been a turnover.
Figjam is in their side stack.
He's looking to throw through.
Good Lord, Figjam's offense is predicated
goes
on
up.
athleticism.
Can number 6 bring it down? No, he can't. Too bad. It looked like number 6 had Monette boxed out and could have actually made that play.
Figjam really wants to snipe it in there.
Monsieur Tremblay fait une super belle défensive. And then he puts NSOM back in a possibility. Dat Lam on the field with the disc. Right into the defender's hands. Dat Lam's uber pumped to be going to Italy next year.
There was a foul on that play there. So it is going back once more.
Congratulations to Dat to recently propose to his fiancée, Andréane. There you go. Dat lefty, super good with give and goes. He should definitely complement Eric Dion's abilities with regards to being a short, quick handler with quick movement. Oh, D-block, awesome. Great play by number 97. He's been handling for them. That was great heads up, D.
And great length on that layout bid. His lankiness served him well there.
And going to get the disc. Is he going to get
on
the easy score? Easy score up line.
There we go. Figjam takes half. Unless there's a call on the play.
On some of the themes of the and that's score.
Okay, quick repeat of what we just saw. Figjam scores, they take half. 8-4 now for Figjam. And that will mean they are starting next half on defense.
Tweet us, message us, Facebook us, all those things. See you in a bit.
And we're back. Beginning the second half of the Masters final featuring Figjam from Calgary and NSOM from Montreal. If you've recently joined us, as the numbers do keep climbing, I'll reintroduce myself. My name is Alex Davis from Vancouver, of Furious George and the Vancouver Ultimate League. I'm joined by Nate Dangeron on my right, who doubtless has something colorful to say about himself, as he always does.
We both play the Nighthawks also.
Oh, that's right. We play lots of Ultimate, actually.
Lots of Ultimate together, huh, Davis? Been to Japan, play the Nighthawks, play Furious.
My joy and regret, Nate. My joy and regret.
We also play League. I love that League team. Weapon's awesome.
Weapon of choice.
Yep.
I came up with that name myself.
Congratulations, Davis.
So, bringing some people up to speed on some recent events, there were some questions asked about what appeared to be a TMF delivered on the field, and yes, it was a TMF. It was not given. It was not a PMF. It was not given directly to Eric Dion, but rather it was a TMF given to the entire team of NSOM for what the observers ruled as a pattern of behavior, overly aggressive contact.
Number 97. Great play. Give go to start it. Oh, Figjam coming down man for once. Right into the teeth of the defense, and Figjam gets going right away, as they should.
That seemed to stun NSOM for a second there. It didn't look like they were just caught in disbelief. Oh, that is why you need to go to the disc as hard as you can.
Great play by GF Paul Bid. Not sure if he got a piece of the frisbee, but definitely deconcentrated his player. Somebody's got to strike. Somebody's got to go and get it. Yeah.
NSOM does seem stagnant from the deeper cutters. They take their shot, and it's
Nope.
That really looked like it should have worked.
Nope.
That was very promising. It was a gutsy throw. It was a difficult execution going over two defenders like that. It's a shame that it wasn't completed.
But NSOM has to take advantage of when Figjam's not playing zone, because they definitely have those outs. Just need to catch the disc.
The skill sets on both of these teams have been especially high variance. It can be mind exploding to watch, but these players will make incredible grabs followed immediately by incredible lapses of focus and concentration.
Yep. They're not the only ones to suffer from that, Davis. I think we know all our own team can suffer from that.
Yes, I have seen multiple epidemics of what should we call it? The lack of focus disease.
Yes, ability to.
Okay, so Figjam has it centered. They're looking for their options. Right now, they're just resetting.
Yep.
That was a
97.
Wide open.
Is he gonna? No. One of the taller handlers. You'd think that he'd go and score it. He's definitely one of their taller players and able players. Definitely doing a lot on the field. Coming back up. Shout out from Prince George fans to Sean Bernard, number 79 on Figjam. Watching live from Mike's basement.
A finished basement is very nice and comfortable, especially at this time of year when it's so hot.
Finished bathroom's even nicer, isn't it, Davis?
It is. So Max Hunter, if you'd like to get around to finishing my bathroom before finals tomorrow, that would be excellent. And if I see you at the party tonight instead of working on my bathroom, I'll be very disappointed. Figjam has the disc, again in shooting distance of the end zone, but NSOM is playing excellent defense, and there's a stoppage on the play. It was a pick call.
Number 97 with the frisbee. Oh, close. Dat Lamb close to getting a D.
Figjam's end zone offense confuses me. I have no idea what I'm looking at any given time.
No, Cloud is good. Oh, break force. No way.
Oh, he nearly caught that on the back of his neck, but it's very difficult to complete a catch on the back of your neck, and that's why it slipped off.
Disc in the middle to Eric Dion. Eric puts it. He puts it to Monette. Great put out to space. Monette's going to run it down. Now they just need to close it out. They just need to close it out. And then he puts it in. Well, floats it up. That's a score. Done. No score?
No score. There was a travel call on Eric Dion's monster huck. The crowd is not pleased.
Go to the observer. That's exactly what he should do. Why? Because the observer, as an offensive player, when you travel, several things can happen. First off, it's not going to be a turnover. And if the observer rules it, Dion should be a veteran player and make exactly that call. Because there's no losing. It's either the disc comes back to the thrower or the play stands.
There's nothing to lose by going to the observer in this situation.
And those are the two reasons, and those are the two options.
So disc comes back. Let's see. NSOM.
I believe they did go to the observer, and observer ruled travel.
NSOM is being very parsimonious about spacing themselves out again to recuperate.
Foul called.
Recuperate what they thought was their justifiable advantage.
Datlam setting up in front of or behind Dion should definitely be either on the break side and get his defender out of there, because Dion can throw that. And if this is not good for NSOM. It's good for Figjam. That's another score. That's a break. That's 9-5. Easy, just punched it in.
The crowd is not happy, and they are visiting their weight of opprobrium through extensive chorus of boos. Incidentally, if you not yourself notice the color schemes and the fairness of the composition on the field tonight, you'll notice that we have white playing against blue, against a white and blue backdrop. And that is because the UBC colors are white and blue. And I sincerely doubt that was by design. It was entirely by coincidence. But I find a certain satisfying symmetry in white versus blue competing for gold. I always have something germinating in the back of my mind.
No comment.
None requested.
If anybody's listening, Alex Davis is also known as T1000, as I'm sure he does not like me propagating his nickname. It's T1000. T1000. I'm not going to say it again. T1000.
Really digging deep for the color commentary on Nate Dangeron's end.
It's okay. You're digging for it also. T1000. Digging for gold. Yeah, Alex Davis is in the finals tomorrow, everybody. If you have a chance, pat him on the back tonight. That would be... Hug him. He loves hugs.
No hugs.
Part machine,
NSOM
part organic.
runs an amoeboid offense so that we can get off that decrepit topic. It's a quick turnover, and Figjam seizes the opportunity.
They're moving. Figjam's moving.
They wanted to attack, but there were so few opportunities. NSOM really clogged them up so quickly.
Up line, on the sideline. Matt Dussault marking. Oh, there may be it's a turnover, but Figjam got good in the sense that they started moving, and they started moving it quick. I think NSOM's starting to show a little bit of fatigue. Bad Graton with the frisbee. There's a strike. Doesn't throw it. Number 66. Yeah. That was a viable, good cut from Etienne.
But it was also a good no throw, because that's exactly the kind of throw that has caused so many turnovers so far. Seeing somebody wide open but too deep for your range to actually complete it.
Yeah. Unless you have those throws, but no player on this team has demonstrated that. On either team has demonstrated that ability.
Against that would be a forehand. That was going to have to be at least a 70-yard forehand.
Yeah.
And that's difficult to do without any momentum going into your huck.
To be going into power position. Etienne Mathieu. Up. Cloak leaves the disc out to Graton, Pat Graton for the score. Looks like there's a call on the play again. That's too bad. Travel called.
And the crowd once again provides their opinion.
It's funny that Davis made a mention to Eric, I believe that's Eric Zion on his knees.
It certainly looks like it.
Yeah, that's number 51.
The crowd, the court of public opinion, has ruled that it was a throwaway. Unfortunately, they have no officiating power, so we're still going to go to the observers on this one.
Yeah, That's number 23 who threw that. That's Frank Lanouette.
A quintessentially Quebecois name. That one just rolls off the tongue.
Yes, absolutely. That's a goal. We
Goal.
scored. They scored. And some scores. It's 9-5. They still got to make up. Is it?
I can barely see the scoreboard right now on account of the sunset. Now, that happens to be very inconvenient for me, but it makes a difference to the players now because the sunset is no longer in their eyes.
It may change the game. That if you notice, there have been a few more hucks put up since the beginning in the first 2 points back from the half. That can play importance. The sun can change that, just because now you can see the huck.
So we've spoken a great deal on the subject of tiring out during this game. An interesting additional note, though, is that throughout a tournament, and especially as you enter the playoffs, when you take a lead, a decisive lead, one of the key advantages of seizing that lead is that the other team has to start thinking about the consequences of losing and winning, and what it might mean to them to tire out their best players in a game they will lose anyways. Because if they start thinking about their next game, they may be tempted to roll. A final, of course, removes that factor. Now we have two teams meeting for the first time, ready to put everything on the line. That was a split stack play. Figjam moves it to the sideline. Oh, there's another stoppage.
Kat and Guy, I got your live tweet. Just want to do a shout out to Captain Luc, who's captain of NSOM. Glad you guys are watching it on your cell at Anchor on Gambier Island.
Is that Gambier?
Yes, but
okay.
I'm not sure.
That was a nice hammer across the field. Just a pleasure to watch. Right on target.
Dad covering the handler. Great handler cover. Number 28, Pat Frenette.
Figjam is playing patient right now, but they're always impatient.
And there's a score. There's a score.
Good decision.
It was open side. 10-5. I feel a little bit of momentum here for Figjam. They're still moving the frisbee. They're actually moving the frisbee better than at the beginning of the game.
Numbers don't lie. They do mislead, but they do not lie. How many minutes to soft? 15 minutes to soft cap. We're falling very much short of my 15-10 goal. Somebody's going to have to go on a run here soon. Unless, of course, they are determined to prove me wrong once again, as the community continues to conspire against me. One key difference is that in the finals, there is no hard cap. There is, however, a soft cap, and that's just to make sure that the game does not last forever. They will play out every point toward that soft cap point cap, but there will be no hard, sudden time stoppage. As the sun goes under the horizon, NSOM takes the disc.
Éric Dion avec le frisbee de nouveau.
Figjam is in their zone again. NSOM is trying to navigate around it.
J'ai parlé avec plusieurs joueurs pendant la demi. Certains d'eux pensent que Figjam veut le frisbee dans les mains de Dion, en fait, parce qu'ils savent qu'il est capable de lancer certains... Ah, belle défensive. Il est capable de lancer certains lancers qui veulent, en fait, qui lancent un lancer flic. Pat Gratton, est-tu capable de faire un jeu? Non. Il est joueur de Figjam, pas dans zone de but.
He calls his timeout instead of throwing the crossfield scuba. Not a bad decision.
I agree. That's it, yeah. And that's...
has just been confirmed that Figjam has 1 timeout remaining, and NSOM has 2 timeouts remaining for the duration of the game. So if you've been paying attention this weekend as an observer of human nature, you'll notice that, of course, every team has their own little ritual during the timeout circles. Some of them are intended to be fun. Some are intended to psych out their opponents or psych themselves up. Everyone finds something to do, because otherwise it turns out that standing around and talking strategy ad nauseum gets boring very quickly. Earlier today, we saw one team that was just playing a massive game of rock, paper, scissors. I believe that was Calgary's The Ghosts, was it not?
It was the Ghosts.
It was the Ghosts, yes. Rock, paper, scissors.
A men's team playing rock, paper, scissors, Davis.
A game that everyone can enjoy.
Sure. Yes, I agree. Everybody can enjoy a good game of rock, paper, scissors. Oh, yep. That's all I'm going to say.
I did not see anyone throw their fire, though. If you're a true connoisseur of rock, paper, scissors, you would know that throwing your fire is the ultimate trump card.
Or contact. Go fire, go.
Contact. Fire you can only throw once.
You can only throw once.
Oh,
and that's
my
the score.
goodness. That was so easy.
Number 97, then just like they score. Boom. Up the line, score, 97.
An easy scoop cup. Scoop cut. Why don't they run that more often?
That's a good question.
Sorry, that might be my frustration showing through my commentary here, the coaching side of me.
There's also a contact call. We were talking about rock, paper, scissors. Antoine Genet taught me this with Louif. Shout out to them. Congratulations to, well, they had a great tournament. Big games. So, and then simply, it's a contact that once you pull or you shoot, you then have to contact the other player, and that's the final straw as to whether you won or not. 11-5. Definitely, Figjam's definitely pulling away.
And
stadium lights are coming on because the sun is setting.
But this is a very nice light to play in finally. The glare has disappeared from the field. There's more of a uniform twilight glow, sepulchral even, which is another excellent word that I'd like to drop on the feed tonight. And that makes it's a flat light, but it's much easier to see your targets, much easier to read the disc. It generally makes the game more fun to watch as well, as players can use more adventurous throws and read it without simply dropping it. Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Dom Roy, who's very stylish with his green socks. Just wanted to say hi to Terry, Phoenix, and Jethro. Phoenix, 17 years old, Jethro, 14. He's definitely a great defensive player, great handler. He has an awesome hammer. Just got to see more of him. Definitely some great players on both teams. And we're just because of the zones. That zone, Figjam zone, got exactly what they wanted. Just a toss-up, wanted them to throw. Definitely pressured them. That was great defense by Figjam. They're about 15 yards out of the end zone. Robert Totem Battaglia on the mark. Oh, dish. Yeah. Rob's got a
nice grab. Ever widening that gap.
Yep.
Figjam has taken a very commanding lead in this game now.
Yep. Definitely.
Now, earlier, it seems that I may have offended a viewer by saying opprobrium. That was the word opprobrium, not approbation. There's a material difference. Tushar thinks this is hilarious, but he's a man wearing a chicken hat. And will be wearing it tomorrow as well. The least practical headwear I've seen at this entire tournament.
I dig it. I got you, Tushar. Boom. Nice potatoes you had today. Not a creative metaphor for anything. They were potatoes. Wedges. Yeah, so, potato wedges. Delicious. Davis?
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Don't worry about it.
Yogurt?
Yogurt. Yes, don't worry, Davis. It's okay.
Okay.
It's beyond your comprehension.
I sincerely doubt it, but I'm glad I wasn't paying attention.
There's definitely I'd say that's when I'd put my hand up and go, hey guys, you need a timeout. Let's get the game rolling. Figjam's on a roll. They got to keep going with it.
This would be a very difficult comeback upset, but not outside the realm of possibility. Even no matter what the lead is in a final, you want to keep your foot on the pedal, keep up the pressure, and Figjam is doing just that with their zone. That has served them very well so far. Wow, that was like pinball there with NSOM handlers bouncing off of the wall.
But that's what they got to do. They got to keep moving the frisbee upfield. And Figjam's doing a great job at just preventing them from doing that. Pat Graton is big time open in the middle.
Yeah, NSOM is not making a lot of yards right now. It's kept around at net equilibrium point. There we go. Wow, that was excellent defense.
37.
Foul call on the reception.
There's some dialogue going on. You know when they take their hands out. Okay, oh, great. Great, it's resolved. We can get straight back to playing. Let's go. Nick Menzies would say, let's go. Les spectateurs québécois sont super dedans avec le cheer connu à travers le basketball comme défense, en cheerant defense, defense, defense. C'est à travers le tournoi Hydro a fait ce cheer, puis c'est définitivement de quoi qu'il a tapé ses nerfs, ces joueurs anglophones.
I do like that NSOM has managed to very finessedly move their disc up to the end zone line here. And their end zone offense, to their credit, is more organized than Figjam's.
Yes. Definitely more structured. Oh, hammer? No. Up to Cloak. Cloak can't. Tried to jump over him.
Organization and structure can only serve you so well. You still have to take advantage of it. That hammer was a gutsy throw, but it did not serve them well.
And you know what? Execution. If he would have floated it up to make it a 50-50, Cloak definitely got boxed out. Oh, this could be a Kinsey Callahan. That's a huge play. Huge play. This is momentum changing for any team. A Callahan like that. Happens to be Eric Dion, but any handler cover can make a play like that when a disc floats up. And that's what you hope for, and that's what you want.
I'm going to say it's a bit of a hyperbole to call it momentum changing at this point in the game, but it's certainly momentum deflating.
Definitely.
Figjam is not happy about that. They're consoling their throwers. Well, the thrower. But that was great defense. Way to stick that catch. That was not easy.
Davis, I think you'd agree that as much as that can give them a boost, they're still 6 points behind.
I have no way of disagreeing with the numbers on the board, Nate. 6 is definitely the number. But it's, again, not outside the realm of possibility. Just last year, Furious came back on an 8-1 run to somehow win the final.
I hate watching that finals. I actually don't watch that finals.
Of course you don't watch our finals. I don't watch our finals. It would give me a drinking habit.
Well said. Well said. That is... We
hate our finals.
I think there's a consensus of it gives us indigestion. It's bad, but yes. Yes, nail biter. I like my fingernails.
It turns out that spectators and players have very different ideas about what is a fun ultimate game.
Yep. We're seeing some new players, some players that we haven't seen out before. They have to change it up, change the looks, change the defensive plays. Change the defensive look so that not used to the defenders as much as it's new for the defense, it definitely forces them to
rethink their matchups.
Yeah, to change their matchups. There's a call, no goal. Number 15, Francis Béliveau, I think is just on the field. Handler cover, up, big around, loss of yards. Figjam back, showing a little bit more structure on their end zone. Domroy on the mark. Three. Open side. That's open side. Boom. Score. Score for Figjam. 13-6.
One of the things that does seem to be working for Figjam in this crazy end zone offense is the fact that the defenders ultimately have no idea what the desirable angles are.
Yeah.
They're chasing their checks around in circles, and as long as the disc is changing hands, any one of those angles may suddenly become a viable throw.
Yeah.
Like the defenders are as confused as we are right now.
With regards to their end zone.
With regards to their end zone. Context dependent.
Yes. No pun intended.
Danny Saunders, Executive Director of Ultimate Canada, has just joined us in the booth.
Can I shake your hand? Awesome.
Nate Jangeron, in the presence of greatness.
Got to take advantage of that stuff. Doesn't happen very often. You just shook a Nighthawks player hand, you know.
Can I have your autograph, Danny?
Way to deflate my bubble.
On like an Ultimate Canada disc. Is that a thing? Okay, Tushar has asked that we discuss briefly what we think of the possibility of the Daredevil line of molds being approved for finals competition at USA Ultimate.
Yeah. Well, we had an adjustment to make this year with the Nighthawks, right? With the Innova and the Pulsars?
Yeah, I think that changing up discs is, well, I think that it's an interesting thing, and I think it's a good thing, because a truly finessed Ultimate player ought to be able to say with confidence that he can adapt to any disc that he has to hold.
Yeah. It comes down to, can you throw in the wind, yes or no? It doesn't matter what the Frisbee is if you can practice. Of course, it levels the playing field if everybody has to start learning to throw with the new disc. But nice throw by Luc Drouin up the field through the zone. And that's, they got to keep moving. Got to keep moving. Once they get...
We have another stoppage. And as we were just saying, with regard to the Pulsar,
yep,
it's not that one disc will be ever better or worse than another, but you will find that they have different tendencies. Absolutely. And some players will complain that the throws they like best are more difficult to execute, certainly under different conditions.
Yep.
But what we saw with the Pulsar is that it also opened up other opportunities. Throws that you didn't previously consider viable suddenly were.
Yep. And
it made it a more exciting game to see this new spectrum and arsenal of throws that everyone was learning at the same time. It really comes down to whether or not you feel that the finals should be a test of everyone's mastery with a particular disc,
yep,
or whether you feel they should demonstrate versatility.
There you go. Oh, there's a score. Score for break force throw for NSOM to score.
Figjam and NSOM are trading points, but NSOM's going to have to string a lot more together in the time they have available.
A lot faster also, exactly. Yeah, definitely going to.
They can't afford to be trading points. That's just, the end game on that one is just a win for Figjam.
I believe soft cap has been in effect, or has started. No announcement yet. I believe prior to the half that soft cap was supposed to start at 8:25.
Now, again, the disc that we're using in this final is, of course, the Discraft Ultrastar.
Yeah.
But Daredevil has been an official supplier to Ultimate Canada for many years now.
Brian
Gizzle. The tournament director is Brian Gizzle.
What? Get Bobo to
no one actually on the Twitter feed asked us who Brian Gizzle is. That was Tushar. How he managed to get through the tournament this far without knowing who the tournament director is a mystery to me.
Yes. Tushar is a mystery also, though.
How does he get permission for things?
I don't. Yeah, he's a mystery.
Oh, I'm not sure how I feel about that poll. Actually, I'm very sure how I feel about it. It was too high and floaty. Yeah, I went there. Short. It was short. It came down around the brick mark.
Short pull to a poach who can definitely jack it.
He wants it. It's
up?
Going.
Can
NXT
make a play? No. No, he can't.
Instant score.
That's exact. That was open side. He wasn't aware. Alexi not knowing where the disc was at, and simply couldn't locate it fast enough once the disc went up. That's a huge thing when playing defense. The cutter had perfect timing for that, as compared to the beginning of the game. Definitely started a little bit more shallow to have that continue from the break side. Boom.
Incidentally, I like these white-on-white jerseys. I feel these are handsome jerseys.
What do you think of our jerseys, Davis? The Furious George jerseys.
I think they are painfully tight.
Oh, yeah.
I think very highly of our sponsor.
Oh, Oddball. Okay.
Oddball
Shout out to
Workshop.
Oddball,
I
yeah.
think they're very attractive, but I think that somebody sitting beside me messed up the sizing order for us.
Tashar, come and sit next to me. Okay, too bad. I'm completely and wholly responsible for the jerseys.
Do you have any idea how many jokes I've had to play through in this weekend so far?
How many, pardon me?
How many jokes I've had to play through?
Oh, it's definitely a psychological benefactor when guys are looking at you like his jerseys are way too tight. Your muscles show, they had no jersey to grab onto, definitely more aerodynamic.
This is now officially game point for Figjam. The score is 14-7. 15th point will be the end of the game. And Figjam is on defense.
They got to 15 points, Davis. Our bets at the beginning, our wagers at the beginning of the night, where I was definitely rooting for NSOM, but as you definitely were realistic, like you always are. Figjam, 15.
There's a turn hand block. Figjam is in shooting distance of the end zone.
Yep, definitely shooting distance. This could be gold.
They center it, move it around to the side. It's up.
Boom. Hammer to score. Not this time. Dump back, loss of yards.
Oh, that was wide open, but he didn't take the break side swing. They regain all their yards again.
Open side. Done.
There it is.
That's game.
They call it in,
Figjam.
and the goal is acknowledged.
Yep, definitely. Nope. That's game. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Shout out to all the Montrealer fans that were watching, cheering on NSOM. Nothing sexier than old Montrealers. Great hustle, both teams. Figjam definitely had a little bit more momentum that showed in the second half, and NSOM not being able to convert.
And congratulations to Figjam. I'm good. Just ask me.
Yeah.
And all their fans out there also listening.
Number 97, I'd put number 97 as MVP of the game. Definitely great player. Showed some hucking skills, defensive plays, and scores.
Well, I think I'll be signing off. Once again, my name is Alex Davis from Vancouver's Furious George and the Vancouver Ultimate League.
And Nighthawks.
And Nighthawks.
And it's important. And Nate Danduran tuning out. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you tomorrow. I'll be back with more commentating. Facebook me, email me, send me if you want suggestions, how we can improve. That's what we're here for you guys. Talk to you soon. 9 a.m. PDT. That's right. Later.